Hello and welcome to Pushing Back, Ukraine Daily Brief. As the war enters its 867th day, these are the main developments from the past 24 hours. The update from the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. Russia has lost approximately 554,510 troops in Ukraine since the beginning of the war. The number, which has not been independently verified, includes 1,100 casualties over the past day. According to the released Ukrainian figures, Russia lost 2 tanks, 11 armored combat vehicles, 36 artillery systems, 3 air defense systems, 51 drones, 57 vehicles, and 12 pieces of special equipment. NATO countries have announced the donation of 5 more air defense systems to Ukraine. The package includes additional Patriot and SAMP-T systems and components for their operation. New Zealand announced a new military aid package for Ukraine valued at $3.68 million. The package includes allocation of $2.45 million for the drone coalition and $1.23 million for the military medical needs. Norway will also donate 6 F-16 fighters to Ukraine. They also launched 128 combat clashes and carried out 56 airstrikes, including 78 anti-aircraft missiles on the territory of Ukraine. They also used 419 kamikaze drones and carried out 2,932 attacks on the positions of Ukrainian troops and settlements using various types of weapons. In its latest intelligence update, the UK's Ministry of Defence reports. Open-source reports indicate that Ukrainian forces have damaged or destroyed 26 Russian Navy vessels in the Black Sea region from February 2022 to June 2024. These attacks took place in the northern Black Sea and the Sea of Azov. The frequency and severity of attacks around the Crimean Peninsula have escalated over the past year, with nearly 2/3 of the strikes occurring during this time. In its latest intelligence update, the Institute for the Study of War. Russian President Vladimir Putin and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi issued a joint statement on July 9 about strengthening mutually beneficial political, economic, energy, and military technical cooperation between Russia and India. Putin has been intensifying efforts to strengthen Russian relations with non-Western countries through individualized appeals, although he is likely emphasizing Russo-Indian cooperation in the Shanghai Cooperation Organization and BRICS as part of a wider Russian effort to create an alternative, Eurasian security architecture, leveraging existing Eurasian multilateral organizations. Modi tacitly supported the Kremlin's false narrative that Russia is interested in a peaceful, negotiated resolution to the war in Ukraine, likely in exchange for deepening economic, energy, and technological cooperation with Russia. Putin may have pledged to return Indian volunteers fighting in Ukraine during a private dinner with Modi in Novo-Ogaryovo, Moscow Oblast on July 8. Some unnamed U.S. government officials appear to believe that Ukraine does not need to liberate its occupied lands and people to win the war, despite Russian President Vladimir Putin's recent clear statements that Russia will not accept a negotiated ceasefire on any terms other than Ukrainian capitulation and will not abandon its goals of the total destruction of the entire Ukrainian state, not just the lands it currently occupies. Several independent investigations, including one conducted by the United Nations, UN, Human Rights Monitoring Mission in Ukraine, concluded that a Russian missile struck the Kiev city Okhmatdyt Children's Hospital on July 8 amid continued official Russian denials and deflections. Ukrainian forces conducted a series of drone strikes against Russian energy and military infrastructure in Belgorod, Kursk, Rostov, Astrakhan, and Volgograd oblasts overnight on July 8 to 9. Russian President Vladimir Putin appointed new military prosecutors on July 8, likely in support of ongoing, long-term Russian military reforms. Newly elected Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian reiterated Iran's continued willingness to enter a comprehensive strategic partnership with Russia, emphasizing the continuity in Iran's support for Russia even under a new presidential administration. The U.S. Department of Justice released affidavits on July 9 for several hundred X and domain names used by Russian state media and security services to operate a bot farm aimed at spreading disinformation in the U.S. and abroad. Russian forces recently made confirmed advances southeast of Chasiv Yar, near Avdiivka, and southwest of Donetsk city, and Ukrainian forces recently advanced north of Kharkiv city. Russian Prime Minister Mikhail Mishustin signed a decree ordering the re-establishment of the Saratov Higher Artillery Command School on July 8, likely as part of ongoing efforts to build out a cadre of Russian officers. Russian authorities continue to deploy Rosgvardia contingents to occupied Ukraine to serve law enforcement functions. During his visit to Washington, Zelensky met with NATO members and spoke about three areas. Firstly, NATO summit and security commitments. Ukraine is pushing for more air defense systems, F-16s, and additional security commitments, including weapons, finances, and political support from the NATO summit, America, and Europe to strengthen Ukrainian forces. Secondly, restoration and support for Okhmatdit. The Ukrainian government has allocated UAH 100 million with an additional UAH 300 million to follow for the restoration of Okhmatdit, with further support planned for cities in the Dnipro and Donetsk regions and affected families and children. Lastly, international condemnation of Russian terror. Ukraine appreciates the global condemnation of Russian terror and emphasizes the need for continued and decisive actions from international partners, particularly from leaders and countries, to restore security and unity. Ukraine's First Lady, Olena Zelenska, and Deputy Minister of Defense Natalia Kalmykova visited the Walter Reed National Military Medical Center in the USA. She expressed gratitude for its support to Ukrainian military personnel and proposing a partnership with the Rivne Regional War Veterans Hospital to enhance medical and psychological care for soldiers. Thanks for following today's updates. Please don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. We'll return tomorrow with the latest news on the ongoing conflict.